Welcome back to my channel. Sorry I'm like whispering, hopefully like this picks up well enough. It might be a little bit too quiet to do and I'm sorry if that's annoying, but it's very early and I feel a bit rude to like just shout at like 8 o'clock in the morning, even though I don't think anyone else would really bother. I feel like 8 o'clock is kind of okay, but it is a Saturday. So basically I wanted to do a video about karma and revenge and like how you can learn lessons through bad experiences, if you like. So good morning, birds are up. So yeah, often people want revenge for some sort of good reason. Like you might like want revenge like on an ex or whatever because you think that they didn't like give you the respect that you deserve, for example, which is absolutely fine and like good for you. But at the end of the day, you're just going to be putting more energy into them at the end of the day rather than yourself. So I said in my last video, it's better to be, it's actually easier to be kind than it is to be nasty. So if they're choosing to be nasty, then fine, I'm going to get onto that stuff later. That's up to them and making their own lives hard at the end of the day. But I'm not being bitchy here. I'm not saying people hating people is bad, because we all have our own battles. I'm just sort of preface that. But I feel like on a level of karma, like you do get back what you put out, and that's another reason to kind of be compassionate even to people that you don't like if they've done you wrong, because they could be struggling with things that you don't know about, or just have their own journey, as we all do. Because I've watched two very like slightly different videos that had topics about this, and one girl was sort of like giving you as it is some of the stuff I'm about to talk about, some of the cold hard facts of which is true, but she said it in quite a upfront way, and another one was like, well, and they both kind of said the same thing, which was, here it's talking about certain people, and I think you can say exes with this, or just certain friends or whatever, that like basically don't care and are playing a game to sort of like get what they want out of you. So this could be like friends that use you for like money or like whatever, or like like, you know, sort of fuck buddy or whatever, like that's, I'm not saying like certain arrangements aren't fine, but if you have like a relationship that is kind of only used when someone wants to come over if they're drunk or lonely or whatever, if you've got like a bloke messaging you and he's like lonely and you're like some people might, but I don't think the vast majority of women will not find that attractive, or if they do, they'll probably just come to a point where they run away because it's like, or like they don't bother, because it's quite obvious that that person doesn't care about you. If they cared about you, they'd be there for you when you needed them. If they weren't there for you when you needed them, then why should you be there when they needed them? This is different to giving someone natural common courtesy and not making their situation worse, and sort of like, you know, being nasty to them. Like, I feel like you have to do what you have to do to protect yourself in the moment, but moving forward, it's always best to like not try and make things worse for them, but obviously you're going to have to put yourself first in like most situations. The point is, some people don't really care. They want to play games with people, often like, you know, player types, if that's women or males. Women and males do this, where they do have like a kind of strategic way they go about trying to get what they want, be that sex or whatever. Like they'll sort of like have like a strategy that they kind of do exactly the same thing on every person. It might be like chatting them up, or, you know, stories, and like sometimes lies and fabrications of the truth, you know, God knows what that could be. But right now women might talk about how they, I mean, women, I don't know how much I can't tell, I've never been chatted up by a woman that does this, but if they're a bloke, I don't know, like, they've had certain jobs, they've got this amount of money, they've got X amount of, you know, money and whatever else, and I've got a holiday home in Cuba, and like, I'll take you there, and like, let's go to the zoo on Wednesday. I have had that one, to be fair. Let's go to the zoo on Wednesday. I have had that. Next morning, I'm trying to text them, oh, let's just be friends, or like, it's nice to meet you, but like, or like whenever, like a week later when I started texting them, but to be fair, regardless, that was an example. So yeah, often some people, and I can't speak for every single person, but it goes on with the rule of karma, because I think you should always go with your intuition about like what's going on, because if you do have like a fishy feeling about something, or say a fishy feeling, that sounds a bit grim, but a sort of a feeling about like a certain situation, like it's about like what, sometimes it's about what, like if people are saying, like, because it's easy to be fooled sometimes when people are saying something to you, like they might be messaging you, for example, they might be so normal, hey, how are you, like how's your day going, it might seem like they're interested, but are they just looking for supply? Are they just looking for attention? Are they just looking for, and I in my former self would have said, well, everyone needs attention, and that is true, everyone needs attention, but not at the expense of one of the people in the relationship. If it's not reciprocal for what you want it for. And this is why we all want different things in relationships, and it's important to figure out what that is. So I feel like in actual relationships as an adult, it's important, I feel like, in proper relationships, rather than just like meeting up, watching films, you know, all the chill stuff that certain people will do to you in life. It's like important to have that reciprocal understanding, respect, that sort of thing, to actually have a functional relationship where you've got mutual respect for each other. Because if they are just going to do this behaviour to any person and give that lack of respect, which they might want control, they might want just they could want anything really, but it's usually like, you know, money, possibly sex and whatever. It's often strategic, and it can be a sort of trap mentality where they seem nice and normal at the beginning, but then over time it becomes like, it can become abuse. Like they could do things to bring you down to their level of being whatever they are, lonely, broken, whatever. I don't like to use the word broken because I don't think any of us are broken, but I do think some people can be predatory in the way they go through life, and it's important to understand that, because as someone, like, you're not going to, I don't like to say you're not going to win from a predator, because you will win from a predator, because getting out is a win, but it's you win by getting out. You can't win by defeating them, because they will continue being a predator throughout their lives. So I'm not saying like I'm not naming names here, cool, you know, but there are people that will go through life that will, you know, literally put you in an abuse cycle, and it's just about building discernment from that after a while. I feel like I, being going through the mental health system, was in a prime situation to, and you have to, I'm not saying, and this is another thing though, which is that if you don't go through these situations and heartbreak, and not to say I was particularly heartbroken by situations like this I've had in the past, but you find light in the darkness of that sort of a situation. Like, for example, when I was angry and upset, after that sort of situation would occur, or even during feeling good about that situation, I'd come back and make a YouTube video about something completely different to get my mind off it, and that brought me like a lot of enjoyment and fulfillment. And these kind of situations, they make you a more well-rounded, you know, person that's more, you know, discerning about certain situations, and it matures yourself, and it matures you learn how to treat others, and you learn how to treat yourself, and like sometimes overprotecting yourself from situations like dating and stuff like isn't always healthy, because you're not really allowing yourself to like actually experience those things that were kind of like, I do think we're all on our own path. Like, there's no like too late kind of time to do this stuff, but you know, some people are one of those people where they literally just meet their like husband one day and they're just like, I'm not saying I want to get married, I say like sometimes people, not like straight away, but like some people do just like run into someone and just all of a sudden just are together forever, and I don't think it's quite that easy, but you know what I mean. Like sometimes people just go through like loads of their life without a partner, and they're not someone that has to like serial date or whatever, which I won't. So this kind of evolved as a thing. I don't know how good all the topics went together, but hopefully they all kind of merged a little bit. But just to reiterate on the terms of karma, like people do get back what they give out. So just worth keeping that in mind. I feel like whatever works for you, like we've all got our different boundaries, levels. Like I would quite happily you know, stand my ground and, you know, throw a punch at someone that was out to get me, not like in a pub. I'm talking about if there was like a predator, you know, that was trying to take advantage of me, I would quite happily smack them in the face, but I would not stay in that situation in order for it to happen again. I would build discernment from the situation and move on to something better. So there we go. and we all have our own issues. You know, people aren't predators for no reason. Often predatory people are mixed up in the wrong situations. They might have a lot of repressed trauma. They might have, you know, you have to build the amount of effort you're willing to put into that person. But obviously it's important to know that, you know, it could be generational. They could have had abusive parents. You know, there's a lot that goes into that sort of thing. It's always nice to give out what you can to the world as well, which I think is another reason why it's important to go through these experiences, because if you don't, you won't learn more about other people. And I do think fuckboys do have a bad name, and boys and people in general can have a bad name, but at the end of the day, it's good to put people in some form of categories. But I like to keep an open mind to the logistics around it, but it depends how you want to look at it, I suppose. There we are. So end of my video. Thank you for listening. Bye.